you attribute the reluctance of the Latino leadership in the city of Los Angeles, up to and including Mayor Villaraigosa, to not speak more candidly and more aggressively about this issue?
Very simple. They don't have to. Why would they speak up? They're winning. Their numbers are taking over. They're going to be the 80% Los Angeles someday. They're taking over. Why would they speak up on our behalf? There's no reason to. They don't need us anymore. Villaraigosa can get elected without us now. I go out into the community. Wherever I'm at, I ask questions. I don't tell them who I am. And that's the thing about being on radio. People don't really know what you look like. But I go out into the black community, and I talk all the time to people. Now, I may be in line somewhere. I say, man, what do you think about so-and-so and so-and-so? Man, they'll turn around and say, man, I thought I was the only one. They all say the very same thing. We're in bad shape in this city. This used to be a multicultural city. It no longer is. There's no diversity in Los Angeles City anymore. And those same black people will tell you that they've got a relative who can't get a job. They've got a neighbor who plays loud mariachi music. They've got a neighbor who grows corn in his front yard. They'll tell you about their child in school who's in bilingual education and not learning a damn thing. They'll tell you all of this, every one of them. But if you ask them to stand up and come to a rally, they won't do it because they're afraid. I go to these churches. These churches have town hall meetings. And I've been to a lot of these town hall meetings. Every time they have them, they'll bring in Tony Mohammed and Earl Ofari Hutchinson and some of these other, quote, black leaders, unquote, self-appointed black leaders. They'll bring them in, and they are the only ones who take the pro-illegal alien position. And sometimes the minister of the church will. You know what that's about, the money in the plate. But the black constituency that comes to these meetings is always 95 to 99% in favor of deportation of every one of them. And it's not just the black kids.
No.
The American Hispanics who don't speak Spanish, oh, they're in trouble too. They complain. They call this radio show. They come in here and talk to me. I get emails from them all the time. The problem with the education system is, a few years ago, we were closing schools in this city because of under-enrollment, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Population had slowed down. They were combining schools, and every once in a while they would close one. We just built 165 new schools. 165 new schools. They were after 165,000 classroom seats, okay? All for what? It wasn't for the American kids. Americans aren't having a lot more kids. These were for an influx of people new to this country who happen to be Hispanic, happen not to speak any English, and happen to be in the country illegally. That's what happened. Or the illegal aliens came here and had babies here. My great-grandfather was a slave in the state of Louisiana. Obviously, I never met him. But the ancestry handed down to me by those who came before me, my aunts and uncles and my father, and they all told me the stories of what it was like because it was passed on to them. And one of the greatest moments in our history was the day we were emancipated. We were emancipated with the Civil War, but we still had to have something passed that said officially we were no longer property, we were now citizens, and anything born to us was citizens. That was written for my ancestors. Okay. Having said that, we've got a new misinterpretation of it that everybody from the world has used to come here and have babies and make them American citizens. It is wrong. It is a misinterpretation. And it angers me personally because it was written for my ancestors and now it's being misused and therefore used against me. I'm suffering from it now because of the influx of so many people and their progeny that they have once they get here. I'm suffering from that. My kids and my grandkids are going to suffer because they took an amendment meant for us and turned it around against us. That's outrageous. The media basically at large won't touch this issue as in any form. And when they do, it's always pro-illegal alien. When they do touch it, as far as consequences to other people, it's alleged that this is hurting black folks. It's alleged that this did this. It's alleged that they're costing us tax dollars. It's never a fact that it's happening, even though they know it's a fact. The only avenue of media where we have a fair shake is talk radio, conservative talk radio. And even that sucks sometimes. Hannity, one of the most powerful people in this country, who could really do us a lot of good on this issue, and a guy that I would like to have a beer with. I think he's a nice guy. But Hannity sucks on this issue. All he talks about is the border, the border, the border, the border. There's more to the border. When's he going to do an hour show on what's happening to these communities? These kids that are getting murdered by illegal aliens, the fact that we can't get jobs, the fact that teenagers have to speak Spanish to flip a hamburger. Where's the Hannity show on that? Where's even a segment on that on his radio, on his television program? You won't find it. O'Reilly. Here's another powerful guy who tells us we're going to have to amnesty this 25 million people. What is that? These are lawbreakers, and you're saying, well, we have to amnesty them. We can't round them all up. We don't have to round them up. Make enough effort to enforce the laws on the books. You make it where they can't educate, they can't medicate, they can't incarcerate. Make it where they can't buy a house, they can't open a business, they can't rent an apartment, and I guarantee you they'll go home. What about the janitors in West LA, Century City, Beverly Hills, who were making, black janitors, some white, who were making $12 an hour 15 years ago? That was great money. That was great money. All of a sudden, the owners, the building owners got together in collusion, broke the union, hired Hispanic illegal aliens from Mexico and El Salvador. They came in, they said, we're going to, you guys, minimum wage was $5.25, I believe. He says, we'll give you $5.25 fine. They went and told the black and white employees, we'll give you $5.25, you can keep your job. Well, if a guy's making $12 an hour, he's got insurance payments, house note, kids, car payment, all set up around $12. $5 an hour will kill him. He can't survive. So they lost their jobs. So guess what happened? The illegal aliens came in, got all the jobs, and then went on strike. And then Messy Jesse Jackson marched downtown L.A. holding a broom in his hand, talking about justice for janitors. I mean, unbelievable. He's supposed to be Mr. Black. He's supposed to be, I'm so for the black community. These guys just put his people out of work, Americans out of work, and he marches with a mop in his hand talking about justice for janitors. I think it's going to get worse, but I think one thing that might save us, and I hate to use this as a savior, is this economic situation. I think that's going to slow things down. I think amnesty will be a hard sell now with so many people out of work. It was a stupid idea in good times. In bad times, it's absolutely outrageous. But in Los Angeles itself, I don't think we're done, but I think unless we get some more American thinking back into this city and less left-wing, liberal, idiotic ideologies that are taking place where you give everything away to anybody who wants it, whether they're legal or illegal, I think we're sunk pretty much for quite a while. As we progressed and the races came together, we started to drift off into this black pride, black awareness thing, which I never really got, but I saw it and liked it and didn't like it. It brought us together in one way, but it also kept us from being full Americans. But we never, ever talked about taking over a country. We never talked about, we had no Aslan. We never talked about reclaiming a part of America for our race or for some previous country we came from or continent. We never flew a foreign flag. We never did any of that. And that's what angers me now. These young Hispanic kids now, if you ask them, kids that are second and third generation Californians, Americans, will tell you they're Mexican. I'm Mexican. I hear them say it all the time. Wasn't your mother born? Yeah. Wasn't your mother and father's mother born? Yeah. But I'm Mexican. I'm not American. I'm Mexican. But when you've got a country, and I'm not against immigration. I want to cut it way back. But I think we need some fresh blood every once in a while. But when you have this many people coming this fast illegally, guess what? They don't have to assimilate. They can keep their own 100% culture. Same culture they ran away from, they can drag here.
Terry Anderson's show can be heard every Sunday night in Los Angeles on KRLA 870 AM from 9 to 10 p.m. Other stations carrying his show can be found at theterryandersonshow.com. For more information on how you can help, go to www.capsweb.org.